Check.
Yeah. St. Genevieve High School, right? Number 5, Jess Kemper. Number 9, Bryce Crowlinger. Number 13, Alex DeRich. And number 58,
I'm bouncing down.
Clayton Kreitler.
What is going on?
Captain for the visiting Valley Warriors, number 2, Chase Dunlap. Number 27, Colin Grass. Number 51, Kyle Roth. And number 56, Zach Wolf. Officials for tonight's football contest from the SEMO Football Officials Association. Todd Carrington, referee will be Mike Rush. Umpire will be Rick Weezer. Linesman will be Greg Loretis. And line judge will be Todd Varhala.
We're good. I think they had the freaking mute button on in there. Didn't know that mute button was there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to St. Genevieve High School for tonight's football game here between the Valley Catholic Warriors and the St. Genevieve High School Dragons, the 56th rendition of the Crosstown rivalry. I am Kyle Schweiss, and I'm joined here tonight by my new partner, Mr. Adam Sherry. Coach Sherry, what are your thoughts on tonight's game?
Well, this is going to be a classic St. Gen Valley game. Toughest kids, least mistakes, that type of mentality, that'll win the game. I think the big question marks are going to be St. Genevieve's defensive line, how well they hold up against the bigger Valley offensive line, and what kind of box Valley's able to play with on defense. If they can stop the run with 5 in the box, and St. Gen's probably going to struggle to throw the ball. If St. Gen can force Valley to play their traditional 4-2 box with a high safety, I think St. Gen's got a chance to move the ball with some success.
Both teams very similar outings last week. Started out a little rough. Valley struggled in the first quarter, struggled to score. A couple turnovers early in the game, but picked it up in the second quarter, really put it to St. Vincent. Ended up with a 36-7 victory, and St. Gen likewise struggled early in that game. 3 and out on their opening possession, blocked punt, followed by a quick Dexter touchdown, and then St. Gen was able to take over and really impose their will on Dexter the rest of the game. So both teams relatively untested, but they do both come into the game 1-0.
Yeah, it was classic early season, I would say. You could see that in the NFL game last night. If you're playing early in the season, there's going to be some mistakes and some not very pretty football. St. Gen had some points they even left on the board. They put 49 up, but they had an interception near the end zone and a long run that one of the running backs, Austin Bullock, fumbled down about the 20. Valley also started with a nice drive and then threw an interception right about the end zone. So both teams left some points on the board. Should be a good one tonight.
And we are underway. Valley leads the overall series by a total of 29-26. Have won 7 of the last 10 contests, and St. Gen coming off a 7-6 victory last year. Real quickly, we'll give you the rundown of the starting lineups for St. Genevieve.
Evan Walker, center, Bloomsdale Elementary.
My name's Cliff Lee. I play tackle, and I'm to the St. Genevieve Elementary.
Luke Goodwin, offensive guard, Virginia Elementary.
Caleb Roth, right guard, Sacred Heart.
Ryan Kyler, offensive tackle, St. John Elementary.
Connor Lawrence, offensive line, St. Joseph Elementary.
And the first carry of the game, quarterback Logan Gack keeping it for no gain, stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Looked like Valley came out with a 3-man front. That's going to be the question St. Genevieve's going to have to answer. If Valley can play the 3-2, then St. Gen's going to have to be bigger and tougher inside, and if they can't do that, they're going to have to get really creative with all the the guys that are able to drop back and defend the pass. Valley's almost looking at like a 3-0 look here.
Snap out of no back there to Logan. Logan decides to keep it. Gain of 2. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and long. Start the game here in this first possession.
Again, Valley dropped 2 insides into coverage and sent a blitz off the slot receiver. That's tough to pick up for an offensive line that was, as you stated earlier, kind of untested against a Dexter defensive line that, quite frankly, was not very good.
And it looks like St. John's going to stick with the no back look. 3 receivers to the right side, 2 receivers to the left. And Geck takes the snap, looks to throw, throws long. Pass is over the top and overthrown, intended for Logan Trollinger.
Again, a lot of D-backs on that one. Valley came with a blitz again.
Looks like Valley came in with a game plan. They're going to mix things up on the back end. Bringing some pressure off the sides, dropping those inside guys back.
Kind of ironic that was St. John's game plan last year. They played with 3 down linemen and dropped sometimes 8 into coverage and dared Valley to run the ball, and Valley just couldn't sustain any kind of running game.
Logan Geck in the little scrum punt formation, and punt goes off to the right, and it rolls out of bounds about the 38-yard line. So Valley will take over there, 1st and 10.
Good field position for Valley after St. John also had good field position. St. John's got to stall this momentum here and come up with a defensive stop. St. Genevieve is on their back end. They've got a lot of veterans back there, a lot of team speed. Also Valley loaded with team speed on the outside. Should be a good matchup with the skill guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens on the back end, but probably just as interesting what happens up front with Valley's offensive line. Very experienced group against St. John's defensive line. St. John plans to roll a bunch of kids in and out of that line to keep people fresh on this warm evening. Dunlap takes the snap, throws out to Stoll, and Stoll's tackled in the flat at about the 40-yard line, gain of about 1. Bring up a 2nd and 9.
Yeah, Valley comes out and empty. Again, that's you touched on that. St. John has a lot more guys on the sideline than Valley does, and they're going to come out with the hopes of wearing them down in the first half. Withstand that patented Valley storm, and try to wear them down in the second half.
So 2nd down and 9. Looks like Valley's going to go 3 receivers on the right side. And unbalanced look now.
Mm-hmm. That's a classic play that Coach Nagger has attacked St. John with over the last 5-6 years since they've been running St. John's been running this similar defense. He will overload to the short side of the field. That time he even went unbalanced, had a receiver covered up, ineligible, but just basically got 10 lead blockers out in front of his quarterback.
I remember in 2010, you and I were both on the coaching staff, and that was when he first brought that formation out, and took us a while to adjust to that formation.
A lot of halftime adjustments that year. Good coverage. Oh.
Under pressure. He gets away, but not for long.
Chuck Finley.
Brought down by Chuck. Nice play. And that's going to bring a big 4th and 4 here. We'll see around midfield, see what Coach Nagger wants to do here.
Valley did go with a lot of sprint outs last week. I was kind of surprised to see that. They went with a sprint out in St. John. That's the thing. If you school your kids well, if the quarterback's sprinting out, your kids can kind of squat on either a go route or an out route. It's really tough for a kid to run an in route with the quarterback sprinting toward the sideline.
And he starts out in shotgun formation, backs up to a punt, and he kicks it. Nobody deep for St. John as they were up playing for the fake. And the ball's down at the 16-yard line, 11-yard line, sorry.
Just as we talked about the D-line being key for St. John, and Valley never tested it the opening series, so kind of an interesting twist there that with the big veteran offensive line, they didn't attempt an inside run.
Yeah, we had talked to the coaching staff throughout the week, and I think everyone kind of expected them to really try to to pound it at us, and that time didn't even attempt it. So we'll see if that changes as the game goes on. Motion out of one back. Logan keeps it and gets 2 yards.
Yeah, St. John motion and Zach Boyer out. Last week he had a huge game with 3 catches and about 160 yards, and then another, that was for 2 touchdowns, and another rushing touchdown.
Looks like they're going to go 2 by 2 here. Keep Boyer in the backfield. As the offensive coaches signal in the play, Boyer now goes out to receiver position. 3 to the right, 2 to the left.
And Valle just basically showing a 3-1 here. And yeah, if Valle shows a 3-1 and those guys all drop into coverage, then that should open up some running lanes for Geck.
Got 5 blocking 4 there. Logan is a tough runner. He showed that last week, and he showed it in his past. Yeah, he's not afraid to put his head down and take on a defender, no matter how big he is. So if they're going to give it to us, we'll see if we can take advantage of it. Matthews goes in motion. Now 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Coaching staff sees how Valle adjusts to the motion, changes the play.
Valle keeping 2 high safeties. Matthews has got about an 8-yard cushion here. Might be able to hit him on a stop.
There's Boyer running to the right. He gets about 2 yards, and that's going to bring up another 4th down. So 3 total possessions, 0 first downs as of now.
That was also another concern. Not a concern, but something that was mentioned in talking to people was, field position game. Right now, Valle with their big punt, St. John with their not very impressive punt. Valle's put themselves potentially in good field position on this next possession.
Oh, and there's a snap over Logan's head. Get it out of the back of the end zone, Logan. Oh, and he comes out. He throws. I'm not sure how that was an illegal man downfield, but.
Yeah, that's a tough call for Gegg. Whether
they did call it, but they're going to decline that, I'm sure. Actually, that's a loss of down. They're going to take that yardage, I guess.
It's St. John didn't give up points there, and their defense was stout last week in the first possession, but I guess proactively we'll be able to tell whether he should have just taken a knee and taken the safety on that one.
Can't blame the kid for trying to make a play, but at the same time, sometimes you're better just eating it. All right, that's going to bring us to our first water timeout, and we're going to bring you an ad here.
In 1963, Fleeg's Equipment was founded as a family-owned and operated business in St. Genevieve, where it remains to this day, selling exceptional equipment such as Case IH, Hustler Turf, Vermeer, Cub Cadet, Massey, and many more, helping with all your family and lawn needs. Service from the time you enter the door or pick up the phone is taken to heart.
At Fleeg's Farm Equipment, we ask that you let our family
serve your family.
Go Dragons!
And we are back. Just to give you a little rundown of Valle's offense, the guys you're going to see with the ball tonight. Quarterback, obviously, Chase Dunlap, number 2. He had 4 combined touchdowns last week, 3 throwing, 1 running. Running back, Corey Stoll, most of the time. You'll also see a little bit of Colin Grass. And here's Stoll around the end, and he breaks a couple tackles, and it looks like he gets about 5-6 yards. Receivers, you're going to see Owen Viox, number 1, Jaden Geck, number 4, Aiden Heberly, number 11, and Austin Burnett, number 24. That's a good receiving core they have. Very athletic group. Not real big, but good hands and quick feet.
Valle doesn't have the size that they've had the last few years with Grind and Bloom out there, but for Geck, he can really go, and Heberly had some nice plays last week, and Bowman also had a touchdown reception. I don't even think he's starting tonight. And then I think 27, Colin Grass, he's kind of their wild card. They'll move him around, play some tight end, play some sniffer-type fullback, and then play some running back. And they like to play games with him, and he's a really physical, really tough player.
That was Dunlap running a little quarterback counter play. They brought Stoll around on the motion just like they did the play before, and that time Dunlap faked the run, gave it to, or kept it himself, and got about 5 yards for the first. So it'll be first and goal from the 5-yard line. Here's Stoll, same motion. This time they give it to him. Good job setting the edge that time. Logan Trollinger, I think?
That's Logan Trollinger. St. John, they've got veterans outside, and Valley does have team speed, and I'm not saying they won't have success on the edge, but that
was Bryce Trollinger.
Bryce Trollinger, sure. They have veterans, and they have speed on the defense, and they've been schooled well. They've started a lot of football games, and if you try to get the edge on them, St. John's going to be there most of the night, I think.
Yeah, it's a big loss of 4 on the play, so that's going to bring second down and goal from just inside the 10-yard line.
And Valley brings grass into the backfield, so could be some sort of inside run here. No, it's not. Screen.
No screen. Good read there. Inside linebacker. Looks like Jesse Kemper.
Jesse Kemper, that's actually St. John's overhang nickel position. Wasn't really his responsibility, but he sniffed it out and was right there to make the play.
Yeah, that was a good read. He was coming up on that play from the beginning, so he read something and came up and made a play.
And again, that Jesse was not a starter on the defense last year, but he got a lot of valuable snaps for St. John, and that kind of experience plays huge in a game like this.
So we got third and goal from the 8-yard line. Looks like we got 3 receivers to the left, tight end and 2 outside, and then a tight end to the right. So double tight end look. We didn't see much of this last week from Valley. Dunlap keeps it. He gets to the outside, being chased, dive, and he's going to be in the end zone. That was just a play made there by Dunlap. They had him bottled up in the backfield, and he just found a gap and squeezed on out of there.
That's one where you're not mad at anybody as a coach. You're just disappointed because you know you did everything right. Your defensive backs did their jobs. Everybody did everything right, and the quarterback just made a play that was a little bit better than you guys. But that's not really anything you need to coach on. It's just stay after him and make the play next time.
This is Colton Magger, I believe, for the point after. And the kick is up, and it is good. And it's going to be 7-0 Valley with about 4 minutes and 2 seconds left in the first quarter. And with that, we'll bring you another ad.
Instinct is a powerful force. A whitetail assesses the world in ways we can only imagine, and nature will dictate the routine. So we become humble students of this creature, evaluating its every move, hoping we can be in the right place at just the right time. Well, stop guessing and start thinking like a whitetail. Utilize the science behind nature and instinct to forecast their patterns to determine deer movement before it happens. No matter where you hunt or where the next adventure takes you, get ahead of your game with DeerCast. Instinct is a powerful force. A whitetail assesses.
And we are back live as Colton Niger gets ready to kick off to St. Genevieve. St. Gen looks to start their second drive. Kickoff deep and in the end zone. It's quite the boot there.
Niger, yeah, I watched quite a bit of the St. Vincent game, and his kicks weren't tremendous in that game, but that was hammered.
A little bit of adrenaline on this Valley St. Gen night here.
St. Gen incorporated a lot of motion week 1, and they've motioned their back out a little bit, but in talking to their coaches, I think they might try to get some shifts and some motion in. Valley's got a lot of speed in the secondary, but I don't think they have a ton of experience. Viox played a lot of safety last year, but a lot of these D-backs for Valley are playing, their first true test as a varsity player.
And there you see the motion out of the backfield with the back. Quick swing out there to Boyer. Boyer gets loose, and he gets about 9 yards on that little swing pass. So that's going to bring up a 3rd and short. Zach really had a great game last week. He was good at a receiver in the no-back set. Also got a couple carries, 1 big run, a little quick pitch type play, and he almost had 200 yards. I think 170-something yards combined.
He had about 210.
So 210.
He's a weapon. That's a huge advantage for St. John with a kid like that can run and carry run and catch the ball as well as he. That's a kid that they're gonna get involved a lot tonight. And again, he's just a sophomore.
That play, same motion out of the backfield. They faked that little swing pass again to Zach and got the outside linebacker to jump up a little bit, and they tried to hit behind him, but was unsuccessful.
And again, 3rd and short, and Valley staying with their 3-2 here, sending both linebackers. Could be a good play.
Just tripped up, got him by the shoelaces. Looked like he had it.
Yeah, that's aggressive to go 3-2 there, but when you send both linebackers, you're probably going to get a push. And St. John looked to have a play, and somebody just dove. And
yeah, that was a heck of a play by Colin Grass there, number 27, to make that play.
That had big play written all over it for St. John.
Here we go with that scrum punt look. And they are going to keep it. They're going to throw it. Geck gets to the outside, and he does kick it. Oh, my gosh.
What a play.
Whoa. They give Geck the option on that depending on what the defense does. And I think for a minute he read that he was going to keep it, and then at the last minute decided he was going to kick it anyway, and worked out to be a heck of a punt.
That was the joy of working with Coach Wyke. He kind of is the definition of riverboat gambler. He'll run his scrum punt in almost any situation if he thinks there's a chance to complete it. And sometimes it bites you, but a lot of times it's a successful play for St. John. That time, a fantastic play by Geck to even get it away.
Yeah, that ended up being a 50-yard net punt.
And that's the beauty of that play is they don't have a receiver, so if you can just get away a low liner and get some run on it, you're going to get a lot of net yardage out of it.
Looks like Valley's going to come out with a 4 receiver set over here to the right, 1 to the left. And they're going to go long over the top, and that's intercepted. Intercepted. Is that Logan Trollinger?
That's Logan Trollinger. That's the D-back for St. John that I don't think I would go after. He is cool, calm kid. Been a starter in basketball since his freshman year. You might think Logan doesn't really care, but he's just a very easygoing kid, and a game like today is not going to rattle him.
Yeah, he's got a very smooth set of hips. He can turn and run with the best of them. He doesn't get hung up. Even if he gets beat off the line of scrimmage, he's got the speed to close. He had a really solid game last week.
You could see the kid thought he had a step on him, and Logan was able to make up the ground and high point it. That's just like you teach it.
1st and 10, a little tunnel screen here to Matthews. That's a gain of 4 for Peyton and a good first down gain. Bring it up 2nd and 6.
Yeah, St. John's got to get ahead of the sticks. 2nd and 6, you've got some plays for, but 2nd and 9, 2nd and 11, that becomes pretty tough as a play caller. You don't have a lot on the play sheet for those.
3 receivers to the left here for St. John. Logan moves Zach over to his left side as well. He rolls to the left, sprints out, and now he looks to run, and he keeps, and he's going to get back just shy of the line of scrimmage, probably lose a yard on that play. I think Logan's got in his head if he doesn't see what he wants right off the bat, he's gonna try to use those legs and try to power through the line of scrimmage.
That's the old saying, any drive that ends in a kick is a good drive. If St. John can avoid he's got a guy.
Just underthrew him. He was under pressure, rolling out to his right, kind of had to throw off his back foot, and he had Logan Trollinger out there wide open, about probably 15 yards behind everybody, but he just couldn't get enough on the throw.
Yeah, Valley with good pressure again. They just jumped the 2 underneath routes, and Logan was able to slip behind him. Logan Gegg's he's a gamer with experience. He'll make that play next time.
Another interesting decision here. 4th and 7, and Geck is under pressure, and he is down. He is sacked by number 56. That's Zach Wolk on the sack. So Valley's going to take over inside of St. John territory, and they're going to be on the 42.
Yeah, that was an aggressive call from St. John. Their defense has played well, save for that last drive and the first drive of the season against Dexter. And if you're going to instill confidence in your kids, then do it from Monday to Friday. And Coach Wyke's basically saying, defense, I got faith in you. Let's make a play.
All right, and Valley takes over. 3 receivers to the left, handoff to Stoll up the middle. Actually, that is number 27. That's Colin Grass.
And that time St. John actually came out in a 3-2. So you see them run a D back out and run a D lineman back in. I think if Valley sees that 3-2 this year, they're probably going to attack it. St. John back to their 4-2.
Same formation here for Valley. This time Collins on, well, now they move him back to the left side. So 2nd and 5, looks like they're going to run a quarterback with a lead there, and shedding the block but not able to make the tackle was Kobe Hatfield. Chase Dunlap got the carry.
When you're in a 4 like that, your DNs cannot give up contain. They give up contain with a big kid like Colin Grass out in front, and Dunlap's going to have success running the ball. You've got to secure the edge or it's going to be a long night.
And now we go 3-by-1 to the opposite side. 3-by-1 over here to the right. Back to the left of
now
Dunlap.
St. John looks to be a little confused on defense. They look to have righted themselves.
And here comes a throw, a little pump, and then he hits the middle. Middle's wide open there, but underthrown there by Dunlap. Looked like the receiver had a chance maybe to sit a little bit there and help him out. So he continued on.
I think Dunlap might have gotten excited because the receiver was so open. St. John had a safety backside, but he didn't cheat over to help, and the play side safety let the receiver get his inside release, and he was probably headed for the end zone if that's a completion.
So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 10 for Valley. 2-by-2 set, and there's a little throwback screen, and it is wide open, and a touchdown saving tackle there by Bryce Trollinger. That was a good looking play there. Well designed, little sprint out to the right side, throw back to the left. Had a couple lead blockers out there ready to take on anybody that was left, but most of the defense was sprinting to the right with the quarterback.
Yeah, Coach Nagger, he's been setting up that play the whole first quarter with his sprint out, and then he came back with a little sprint out tunnel screen. That was a really well-designed play.
And 2-by-2 little lead play there, and Dunlap's going to take it into the end zone. So that's going to make it 13-0 Valley. Still in the first quarter. There is a flag on the play.
Big false start for Valley. That'll take it back to 1st and goal from the 12.
I did not see that flag on the field. I had no idea. I was way over here on the sideline. Rabbit Tommy was blocking the view.
Again, that was inside run call. Dunlap bounced it, but down this close to the end zone, don't be surprised to see St. John in a 4-3 look with man coverage, because you got to have everybody in tight, ready to stop the run.
Yeah, they got a double tight look here with a wing. I guess a flex look more so. And hand off to Stoll, and Stoll is going to go in untouched. 14-yard touchdown run for Stoll. And there's another flag.
Hit, unsportsmanlike penalty on St. John. One of the D linemen got a little frustrated, it appeared. Valley came with a shift there, probably got St. John's defense a little confused.
Personal foul. Dragon.
I didn't see the foul. I don't know who it was, but I do see Caleb Roth coming off the field, so I'm not going to speculate, but it may just be a coincidence.
I'm sure it was just a coincidence.
And Nagger lines up for the PAT. Snap is good, hold is good, and the kick is good. High and right down the middle, and that makes it a 14-0 lead for Valley. And that's going to give us time for another commercial break. This would be a perfect time if Valley wants to employ an onside kick with that penalty. Either way, they're going to end up with St. John's not going to have very good field position. But they decide to kick it deep anyway, so it's going to go out the back of the end zone with the 8 of that 15 yards. And St. John's offense is going to come back on the field looking for their first real sustained drive.
I may be wrong here, but I don't think St. John has a first down, do they?
They do not. They had 2nd and 1 earlier in the game, and they were unable to execute.
Yeah, they've got to, if they're going to try to wear somebody down, they're going to have to sustain something. And again, Valley looks to have Valley's in there with their 3-2 again. That's a lot of D-backs to try to throw into, and that is very difficult for a quarterback and a play caller if your offensive line can't move 3. St. John
what is going on?
St. John going with a shift here. They were talking about doing this. The tight end is uncovered.
Oh,
no.
And that's on the ground. And the pitch relationship there between Bullock, the running back, and Geck, the quarterback, was all of about maybe 1.5 yards.
Yeah, St. John brought in a new running back and threw him an option pitch and looked like he might have been a little nervous about getting it. He was, like you said, about 5 to 6 feet from him, and
they would have been better off handing that one off as close as they were.
And this has kind of been St. John's MO for a lot of years. They just get into a huge hole against Valley, and once you dig yourself a hole against a team this well coached, it's nearly impossible to dig out of it.
Oh, and there's a false start by the receivers.
But negative 5 yards will help St. John there.
That's going to make it 1st and 15 from the 23.
Yeah, St. John playing a 3-2 again here. They were able to employ that for the majority of the game last season, and St. John had some monsters up front with Isaac Boyd and Clayton Vaughn and a lot of those kids that they rotated in, and that's a tough ask of a lot of kids to be able to do that. St. John just had the bodies to do it last year.
So 14-0 game here late in the first quarter. Dunlap out of the shotgun, 4 receivers to the left. He keeps it, got a hole, breaks the tackle, gets down inside the 5, tackled at the 2-yard line. They run that no-back set, and Dunlap is a very dangerous runner. They had 5-on-5 in the box, and Valley blocked all of them.
Right now it's kind of pick your poison. St. John was doubling Heberly down here, and you take the safety out of the middle of the field, it's going to leave it wide open for somebody to run through it.
And that's going to be the end of the first quarter with the score 14-0 Valley over St. Genevieve. All right, we are back. Start of the second quarter.
Again, Valley throwing something a little funky here. They got a tight wing down here on the bottom, just regular twins up to the top.
And there's a handoff to Stoll at the outside, and he's going to score, and that's going to be a 3-score ball game.
And that's that's kind of the Achilles heel of this defense. When they go with a tight wing, St. John's got to overload this side because that's where the run strength is. But then if you give up the edge on the weak side, then there's simply nobody left. You've got to, that D end has got to keep contained, and if he doesn't, it's off to the races all night.
And Nagger back to kick the PAT. And the kick is up, and it is good, and that's going to make it a 21-0 game. This is a situation here. You don't want to say it's a do-or-die moment for St. John, but this is a kind of a must-score possession for them. They don't want to go down more than 21 going in half. And in the second quarter, you need to start making up some ground.
Well, the tough part about this is you anticipate coming into a game like this, St. John coming off that strong performance they had, that it would be a game through halftime, and you kind of keep some stuff in your back pocket until after halftime, you know, so that Valley can't make an adjustment to it. But when you're down 21-0, it's you gotta kind of empty the barrels because you can't wait till halftime, because at this pace it's going to be 35-0, 42-0, and it's not going to matter what you got left after halftime.
And along those same lines, I think one of the advantages St. John felt they had was with the depth of possibly being able to wear down Valley because they have so many kids going both ways. But it doesn't matter if you're down 5 or 6 scores. You can have all the depth in the world. You ain't going to come back from that.
If they're going both ways and you can't get a first down, they're not going to get very tired running downhill. That ball was pummeled. He kicked that at 73 yards.
All right, gentlemen. Time to roll.
Yes, like you said, you don't want to say it's do or die with 11:56 left in the first half, but could very well be do or die. Again, Valley rolling 3-2. It's just tough. They're in cover 12, which they're in man coverage. 2 safeties.
Boyer motions out, swing it out there to him, and he is hog-tied and corralled by that looks like Colin Grass.
Yeah, he's just a fantastic football player. St. John gets a decent look there, but that's one where you've got to get 2 blocks, at least 1 block, and get him one-on-one, but you got preferably 2, and looked like St. John didn't get any.
All right, Geck out of the shotgun, no backs. And he's going to go long, and it comes back to get it. That's Logan Trollinger. He breaks a tackle. He's at the 40, and he's brought down at the 37-yard line. Do we have a flag? No flag on a play.
Logan Trollinger, he did not start on offense this week. Last week, they wanted to get him back into the fray just for that reason specifically, because he's a playmaker if you can get the ball in his hands.
Same formation, 3 to the left, 2 to the right. Logan sprints out to the left. He's going to keep it. He puts his head down. He gets about 4 yards. Looked like on the back side there, which I know if you're rolling out to the left, but they had 1 guard and 2 back here on the this half of the field. That's a tough ask of anybody.
St. John looks to have an injured lineman on the play. Looks like it could be Coy Fleeg. Shouldn't speculate, but I think that's the number
Clayton.
I saw.
It's 58.
58, Clayton Kreitler. Like I said, looks to be Clayton Kreitler.
Like you said, don't speculate.
Again, a little momentum there for St. John. That's literally the first bit of momentum they've had the entire game.
Yeah, that was a big play there. That gives a little life to the sideline and gives some hope going forward.
That's the difference in a team like Valley and a team like Dexter. That kind of play last week, Logan's going 80.
Right.
And it's no questions asked. He's going to catch it, make a guy miss, and he's off to the races. And a team like Valley, you preach it to a team as much as you can, but they live it.
Yeah,
they always make you take another snap, and if they make you take another snap, they feel like they can make you make a mistake.
Yeah, on that play, one guy he missed the tackle, but at the same time he held him up just long enough, and there was 5 or 6 Valley players that were, pursuing. And that's just sheer effort on their part. So.
Right. Effort, team speed, and aggression, and they've got all 3 of them. Clayton walks off. Doesn't appear to be limping. We'll see if he can get back in.
Looks like they're checking out his knee, but like you said, it doesn't look too terrible.
Don't want to speculate.
But we don't want to speculate. I think I was correct on my first speculation, even though I didn't want to speculate. All right, we got a 2-by-2 formation. Logan fakes to Boyer, keeps it, and he gets to the outside, and he's going to go to the 28-yard line, and that's going to be another first down for St. John. Nice run. Good job reading his blocks there by Logan. Also, good job by the offensive line there. They were sticking with their blocks down 5-10 yards down the field. Still saw body on body.
Logan Gegg, he's listed at 170. I don't think he weighs any more than 160, but he is, as cliche as it is, if he's 160, 100 pounds of its heart, he's going to give you everything he's got for 4 quarters, and that's what St. John's going to have.
And he's a tremendous leader. They got 4 receivers to the left. Nobody to the right.
All 4 of them downfield, which is illegal.
Yeah, I noticed that. There was no tight end on this side, no receiver. Back was in the backfield, and all 4 receivers went for a route.
If you can get away with that, then I guess it's an advantage to you.
All right, this time it looks like we got 3 on the left, 1 on the right. Boyer flanking Geck to the left, and Geck's going to sprint out again. This time he's going to throw back to the right. Oh, and I almost lost the camera. Oh, my God. Help. He got brought down.
You missed a sack. It was a sack for a loss of about 6 yards, it appears, maybe 5.
That was almost a disaster, folks. Your live stream just about went unlive. Kind of like Dexter last week. That never went live, though, so it never went unlive.
Still waiting on their dial-up down at Dexter.
Logan drops back. Flushed out, and he's sacked again. He just has no time to do anything.
If he does get time, he's got nobody open, and that's just simply, I hate to be redundant here, but when you're dropping that many guys, it can't be fun to play quarterback. You and I were on the staff. We're going to really date ourselves. Back in 06 when we played Owensville in a semifinal game, and they were able to rush 3 and drop 8, and it was a long day for Corey Faulkner.
Yeah, they ran a 3-1 against us, and we thought there ain't no way they can run that against us. They ran it against us the whole time, and we didn't do much. There's a ball deep, and they threw a flag.
I don't know who the flag's on. This will be interesting. I don't guess you'd throw it if it was offensive.
Now that's a 15-yard penalty, but I don't believe that's automatic first down, is it? If it's defense?
If it's not personal foul, I don't think it's automatic, is it?
First, we'll see what the call is.
Let's not speculate.
It's the theme of the broadcast tonight.
Still 4th down, Mr. Turlington says. But a big play nonetheless.
This is one of those ones, Adam, and I'll tell you this because you probably haven't enjoyed many high school football games, not from the sideline or the booth. They're always fun sitting in the stands and listening to the people because nobody knows. Everybody thinks the officials mess things up because everybody thinks the NFL rules and the high school rules are always the same. It's quite comical, but
I'll be honest, I haven't memorized the Misha handbook, so I don't know all the rules either.
It has changed substantially over the last couple of years.
It changes every year for some reason.
Drop back, 4th and 8, and they got him in the corner, and it is underthrown and incomplete.
Smart play. It saved the kid a 1.5 yards. I think I would have gone ahead and made that interception.
Would have taken the stat over the yard?
He may not have calculated in his head pre-snap. Team speed all over the field for Valley. This is staple of a Judd Nagger coach team. Discipline, team speed, aggression, physicality. They kind of check all the boxes thus far.
They did possess the ball a little bit there, ran 7 plays. Got a little sustainment on their offense, so hopefully they can build off that little bit of momentum and next time punch the ball in. First, we got to get a stop here. Dunlap takes a snap, hands to Stoll. Stoll through the middle, and he gets about 6 yards. We'll call it 5.
Yeah, St. John just playing their base there, and they give you a traditional formation. You're going to have to get in your base defense, and you're going to have to win. St. John could blitz their backside safety, put a little more pressure in the box, or just keep it more traditional. They may go to a 4-3 here.
Yeah, that looks exactly like what they're going to do here.
A little more confusion. There they go.
Took a straight cover 10 look. And hand to Stoll. Stoll cuts back into the inside, and he's brought down for just a short gain.
That's what we talked about, and that was to the strength of the defense, but the D-end was able to set the edge. If you can set the edge, give your backside time to pursue, you've got a chance. But if your D-end gives up the edge, you don't have a chance. Third and 5 here, St. John better bump up. Valley loves throwing the stop. Looks like they might have one of the top slot receiver.
Back to the 4-3 here, straight man coverage it looks like. Balanced formation for Valley, 2 receivers both sides. Dunlap drops, he looks, he throws over the middle, and that is broken up. Good coverage there. Is it Chuck Finley?
Chuck Finley.
It's a big play right there, and I think that's going to force Coach Nagger to have to punt this. You don't want to give St. John a short field or any opportunities.
Yeah, that was a small window for the quarterback to throw into, and I'm with you. They may
have to call a timeout here. Do they have 12 guys on the field?
Who?
Somebody come off?
I think Chuck did.
Okay.
Valley with their little look like they're going to go for it, and then traditional punt. And again, it's a big one. That's tough for the return man too. You want to come up and stop the yardage, but the ball's rolling right at you. If you touch it and don't field it clean, then all of a sudden you've made a disastrous play.
Yeah, you see that so much in college football and high school football now. They don't even give returners a chance. They just put it on the ground and let it bounce. All right, we got an official timeout for water. We'll bring you another ad.
In 1963, Fleeg's Equipment was founded as a family-owned and operated business in St. Genevieve, where it remains to this day, selling exceptional equipment such as Case IH, Hustler Turf, Vermeer, Cub Cadet, Massey, and many more, helping with all your family and lawn needs. Service from the time you enter the door or pick up the phone is taken to heart.
At Fleeg's Farm Equipment, we ask that you let our family
serve your family.
Go Dragons!
In 1963, Fleeg's Equipment was founded as a family-owned and operated business.
Looks like Clayton Kreitler is on the sideline, shoulder pads off. He may not, probably a good sign he's not returning tonight.
Number 66, Dale Probst at left tackle.
St. John with a shift. I think this is what they're wanting to try to stay away from to the second half, but can't hold anything back right now.
Run the shift, and then they run the motion back, and that's
Zach Boyer.
Zach Boyer gets it around the outside. He's at the 30, and he's drugged down at the 24-yard line. That's a 56-yard run for Zach Boyer around the outside. And you talked about it, that shift had Valley kind of moving around, a little bit out of position, and then they brought Zach Boyer on the motion, making them even a little more confused. And they were able to seal the edge there, and Zach, using his speed and athleticism, got to the outside. Good job there by the offensive line, the receivers blocking downfield.
He's electric. You get the ball in his hands in space, you just got to try to get it to him, see what happens.
Oop, there's a little tunnel screen there, and boy, they had 4 bodies there to Valley. Matthews made the catch, only got about a yard out of the play.
That's a play where I would say St. John's going to try to run that and try to hit something off of it, because if you run it too many times,
Yeah, that
Peyton Matthews would be sitting down here next to Clayton Kreitler.
didn't look like a lot of good things were going to come of that with as many white shirts as were around that ball.
Now is that Boyer up top or is that Trollinger?
I think that's Boyer.
That's Boyer up top, so they've got him out of the backfield. Looks like he is one-on-one with the corner. I would not be surprised to see a fade here.
And there's Logan Geck, and he dropped by Matthews. Couple drops last week, drops one there. Young man's had a tough start to the season, but great kid. He'll bounce back.
He's going to be a great receiver for St. John for the next couple years. It's a hard game. It's a lot different than playing freshman or JV football. It's faster, it's more physical, and there's a lot more people than there ever is on a Monday night at 6 o'clock.
Especially tonight, as the fences are pretty much lined with fans, at least on the south end. All right, 3rd down and 9. Geck takes the shotgun snap. Wheels it out to Bullock out of the backfield on a little swing pass, and Bullock had nowhere to go. He was hit before he could get down get upfield.
That's, St. John's trying to get those linebackers going side to side, hoping they can get them in space and get them worn down for the game. But Valley's linebackers have answered the bell with each and every opportunity.
The sweet voice of Derek Morgenthaler has just checked in, said Adam Sherry's sounding great. So congratulations. That's high praise coming from that man.
Thanks, Derek Morgenthaler. Always had a lot of respect for Derek. I just gained a little more for him.
That young man did a good job for us for 2 years. He was our student broadcaster. We're working on some right now trying to replace him, but he's got big shoes to fill. So we're going to have him do some JV and some freshman games to get him some practice. They were a little bit timid, a little bit nervous to start out at the Valley St. John game, and I don't blame them.
Takes more than a couple weeks to fill Derek Morgenthaler's shoes.
Although Adam Sherry has done it in one night.
This is true. Indeed.
Derek, you're always welcome back, buddy.
Halftime interview. Come on up.
I'm sure that's exactly what you want to do as you sit in college and enjoy the college life, come back and hang out with the high school football coaches.
Watch a 21-0 game. St. John, big play here.
4th and 10 for St. John. Logan Geck out of the shotgun. Got a tight end over there to the left. And Geck steps up. He throws. He has a receiver open. He held on to it that time. Nice catch there, young man. That is Bryce Trollinger. Good job.
He was right on the line. The referee says, the side judge says, yes, he was not past the line of scrimmage. Huge pickup for St. John.
Yeah, very, very tough play there by Logan stepping up, knowing he could have got a few yards, but that didn't matter in that situation. Had to take a chance, and Bryce Trollinger did what seniors do, and he made a play. Now Boyer goes out, and they fake that little swing pass, and Logan Geck has nowhere to go. It's going to bring up a 2nd and goal from the 6.
Yeah, St. John's just trying to, as light a box as Valley's giving them, they're trying to empty it out even more and get Gegg some room to run inside, but they're just simply nothing there.
Logan scrambles, runs to the right, and he is drugged down. Drugged down on the play that time by number 58. 58 is not on my roster. He's also not on Art Armbruster's roster because he's trying to figure out who it is.
Not on mine either.
If anybody knows who number 58 is, send us a text. Let us know. He just made a good play there.
3rd and long for Valley, or for St. John, excuse me.
All right, we got another timeout, this time by Valley. That's their 2nd timeout of the half. And that'll give us a chance to play another ad.
I think 58 is the other inside linebacker.
A whitetail assesses the world in ways we can only imagine, and nature will dictate the routine. So we become humble students of this creature, evaluating its every move, hoping we can be in the right place at just the right time. Well, stop guessing and start thinking like a whitetail. Utilize the science behind nature and instinct to forecast their patterns to determine deer movement before it happens. No matter where you hunt or where the next adventure takes you, get ahead of your game with DeerCast. Instinct is a powerful force. A whitetail assist.
Adam Sherry has a theory about number 58.
Speculating again, I think 58 may be Peyton Tucker, number 35 on the roster, but I believe he's their other inside linebacker. Again, that's speculation. It may be not Peyton Tucker at all.
They may have felt like they needed some depth at offensive line this week, so put a lineman number on him just in case they needed him on offense.
St. Jim with double tight here.
Double tight, no back. Geck drops back, looks to the right, throws to the right, and that's picked off. They call it incomplete?
Called it incomplete, set it bounced. That is as of right now, that's a huge break for St. Genevieve. They were trying to set up a little screen, it looked like, or a little throwback, and kind of blocked here. But
yeah, that ball, I thought it was caught, but it may have rolled off his hip a little bit. But now it's 4th and 15. Went from a fourth and goal from inside the 5, now 4th and 15. First and goal from inside the 5, sorry.
St. Gen empty here again. Valley in their 3-2. Be interesting to see if they send somebody or just, no, Valley's got 4 down linemen, I'm sorry.
Logan drops back, and he's under all kinds of pressure, and he throws, gets his arm hit. No flags on the play, so that's going to bring up a 1st and 10 for Valley as they're going to take over about the 15-yard line. Boy, that's a killer right there. Killer drive. Had a 1st and goal inside the 5 and went nowhere but backward.
Yeah, St. John had 2 monster plays. They had Boyer with the huge 50-plus yard run, and then they hit Trollinger on the fantastic throw from Logan Gegg. That was a 22-yard gain, and then to simply go backward from there, that hurts. Now St. John doesn't seem like much when you're down 3 scores, but 3:38 left in the half. They really need to keep Valley from getting in the end zone again.
Two-by-two set here for Valley. Dunlap takes a snap, little counter play, runs to the right. That big, huge hole up the middle, and he's still going at the 46-yard line of Valley. So just shy of midfield now. They're going to have a 1st down and 10 as the clock ticks down near 3 minutes.
Valley been running that outside zone to the short side of the field, and that time they simply faked it and ran counter back with the quarterback. And it's hard on a college defense when a team can execute that well, but when a high school team does it, it's sometimes impossible to make the right decision. St. John with man coverage down here on the bottom. Valley wanted to take a shot.
And the handoff here to Grass. He's running strong. Good gang tackle there by St. John.
And that's
Dakota Ornobani first.
That's what you hope for from St. John. You know, they haven't done a lot well the first 2 quarters, but Coach Wyke and his staff, you just got to hope that you come out and play all 4 quarters. You know, who knows what's going to happen in the second half. But when you get that kind of effort, you know, it's at least something positive for your team.
Got 3 receivers to the right side. Colin Grass to the right of Dunlap. Dunlap sprints to the right, throws it deep, and the ball is good coverage there.
Flag down here at the bottom. I don't know what that's going to be. No, that was Kyle Kiefer.
Nice job, Kyle.
In his pocket.
Good coverage. It's going to be a formation foul again?
I don't know if it's going to be. Oh, he's talking to Coach Wyke. Oh, he's asking him what he wants to do.
Interesting decision here. Second and 12 or 3rd and 7. What would you do here, Coach?
That's a tough one. I guess it was an ineligible receiver 5-yard penalty. Coach Wyke's going to move him back. That's why he's the head coach and gets paid the big bucks.
So that's going to make it 2nd and 12 after the penalty is enforced.
St. John with Anthony Nash down playing corner on this side, and then they had Kyle Kiefer up top the last few plays. Looks like they're rotating some D-backs in, getting some guys some experience.
Yeah, and they've all been pretty solid so far. Everybody that's been tested has done a good job. 2x2 set here. Dunlap drops. He looks to his left, and he's got a receiver down here. And just as I talk about how good the coverage has been, we lose one. Oh, we got a flag again.
It's going to be a late hit on St. John.
And that's a roughing the passer call.
Yeah, that's one thing Valley is. They have always been unbelievable at recognizing when a new player is on the field. They find that player within 2 or 3 plays usually, and they've been setting up that little tunnel screen and go. Well, seemingly they've been setting it up for like 8 years, right? About 12 years maybe. But they've been setting it up all night, and then they find the new guy, drop that cheese in front of him, and he can't help but take the bait.
Yeah, St. John, under Coach Bobby Weiler, was one of the first teams in the area to bring the spread, and then Judd got a hold of it, and he put a whole new twist on it. He used it almost more as a running offense than a passing offense, and really did some funky things with formations. And
again, they come out in a little funky formation here and hit the edge.
Ooh.
That's a great job by the defensive end.
Yeah, knifed in there, forced the running back to cut inside.
53, Evan Walker. He doesn't make the play. That's what some people might not appreciate. Well, what did he do? Well, he made the running back get off his path, and he gave his guys a chance to come make the play. And that's all about being unselfish. And if you can get 11 guys to play like that, you can win games. You just cannot be selfish.
Clayton Kreitler's down here with his pads off. That's not a good sign either. Clayton's two-way player. He plays offensive tackle and defensive end, and he's a senior, two-way, two-year starter.
St. John can kind of afford some defensive end injuries, but on the offensive line, they really don't have the depth to afford to handle a loss like that.
There's a little quarterback trap. Oh, just a missed tackle there. But, again, forced him back inside. Inside linebackers there to help out. Only got about 5 yards. But
2 big plays here. We got a minute left. Looks to be about 3rd and 6.5, 3rd and 7. And, as we talked about, the D-backs have done a pretty good job for St. John. The damage, don't you feel, has mostly come on the ground?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
St. John just playing press here. They got to stop the run.
There's Dunlap taking off, gets to the outside, and he's going to get to the pylon. Another missed tackle there.
Yeah, that's the danger. When you get down near the end zone, you've got to play man coverage. You can't drop back. You're not doing any good covering grass in the end zone. But when you play man coverage like that and the quarterback gets outside and all the D-backs have their backs turned covering their guy, there's simply nobody left but the goal line.
Dunlap's a tough kid to play against, too, because Kobe Hatfield's a pretty dang good linebacker, and he had him one-on-one. But Blake's he's a big, strong kid and fast, a lot of athleticism. Kobe wasn't able to bring him down in the open field.
He's really progressed from last year. And when St. John played Valley Week 2 last year, so it was only his second start. And he's become a true varsity quarterback as far as a runner, passer, leader. He looks confident and in control.
Got 42 seconds left before half here. And Valley will get kickoff one more time to St. John. St. John will have just a short amount of time, 1 timeout remaining to try to get some points on the board before half.
On the positive side, Coach Swice, there's actually 2 timeouts remaining.
Oh, 2 timeouts.
Yeah, this is a tough one for St. John. You kind of look for potentially big return, but if you don't get a big return, it's tough to take any shots and risk going down 35-0 here.
And with Nagger kicking, they haven't got anything close to return here tonight because everything's been out of the end zone.
Yeah, he's kicked a bunch through the end zone and 1 out of bounds, so he hasn't given St. John any opportunity to catch the ball and go. And I don't know about you, but this is a tough call, what you want to do here.
I think at 28-0, it's easy to tuck your tail and run to the locker room. But at the same time, I think it's also important to give your team a little bit of instill some confidence in them going into the locker room that you still have faith in them.
That's the hard part. It's dangerous to tell the kids we're going to take a knee, but then it's also dangerous to run a post over the middle and throw a pick. And unfortunately, Valley's just simply going to employ their same 3-2 defense and not have to make any adjustments.
Oh, and that one's dropped by Matthews. His second drop of the game.
Good throw by Gegg. Matthews will be fine. He's got some early season jitters. And then the other thing, if you throw another incomplete pass, Valley's got 2 timeouts and they make you punt. And St. John's long snapper may have been Clayton Kreitler, and even if it's not Clayton Kreitler, their long snapper hasn't been great in the early season.
There's a little counterplay to Boyer. He's got some room to run. He gets about 9 yards. I kind of doubt at this point, 3rd down and 2, that they'll use any timeouts. I think they'll probably just let the clock run at this juncture. Oh, there's a holding call anyway. We got 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, St. John gets a positive play, and then they get a hold off of it. Just kind of a Murphy's Law tonight for St. Genevieve. Is that a scientific law, Mr. Swice?
I don't think so, Adam.
No, it's not like Newton's or anything.
So, no. All right, so 30 seconds left. 2nd and long, 15. Logan Geck, 3 receivers to his right, takes the long snap, and he takes it up the middle. Looks like there might have been some miscommunication there between him and the running back, and I believe that will probably be the last play of the half. 8 seconds left, and that will take us to halftime. We are going to work on getting some scores from around the area, get our stats up to date, and we will be back shortly before the second half begins. Valley goes into halftime leading 28-0 over St. Genevieve. You're listening to Dragon Football on SG Dragon TV. And welcome back to St. Genevieve High School. This is Kyle Schweiss alongside Adam Sherry. And Coach Sherry has some first half stats for us that look a little bleak for the Dragons.
These are pretty rough. Trying to concentrate on filling Derek Morgan-Taylor's shoes, so my stat taking might not have been on point. Rushing, I've got Logan Gegg with 13 carries for -8 yards. Boyer, 3 carries for 58 yards. That included the 56-yarder. Receiving, Matthews, 2 catches, 6 yards. Bryce Trollinger, 1 catch, 22 yards. Boyer, 2 catches, 8 yards. Logan Trollinger, 1 for 41. And Bullock, 1 for -1. And again, this is very rough. I've got Logan Gegg at 6 for 14 for 86 yards. And I'll be honest, I was deficient in doing my job, and I did not get offensive stats for Valley, but they had a lot of yards and 28 points.
And that's about 140 yards for St. Gen, and the vast majority of those yards came on 2 plays, 1 run by Zach Boyer and 1 reception by Logan Trollinger.
First kickoff of the night for St. Gen. Pretty good kick, better return for Jaden Gegg, I believe. That'd be cousin to cousin, if I'm correct.
2 good kids right there, those Gegg boys. It's a cool thing about this rivalry. You got a lot of kids that are neighbors playing against each other, a lot of kids that are friends playing against each other, and even some kids that are family playing against each other. So it's cool for these kids to line up face to face against each other and for one night see who's better, and then night's over and we go back to our normal lives.
Yeah, a lot of the same last names over and over, and it's cool because, like you said, they've been playing everything since they were kids together. They've been playing basically every sport from basketball to gym hockey together, and now they get to face off and hopefully shake hands and be friends after the game.
This is a rivalry that dates back to the 40s, I believe, and they've played 55 times. 29-26 is the record between the 2 teams. Head-to-head, Valley has the edge by 3. Looks like by 4 after tonight, unless St. Gen can do something miraculous here in the second half. As the snap's taken, quick tunnel screen there by Dunlap, and good tackle there. Inside linebacker, was that Hatfield?
Good play set up. Coach Nagger, again, faked his outside zone, got the defense flowing, and then Kemper did a good job slowing it down, and Bullock came in and delivered a pretty good shot on the receiver.
Got Bobby Weiler with us up here in the booth. Surrounded by offensive minds up here.
Got 1 offensive mind. 2 pretty faces and 1 offensive mind.
We've got an extra headset up here too, Coach Weiler.
Coach Weiler declines the headset.
He said he only does 2 possession games. That was a jailbreak there by the defensive line. Coy Fleeg's back there. Kemper's back there.
You got Evan Walker, Coy Fleeg, Kemper back there putting pressure on, and that's almost been the tale of this game for a few years as St. Gen, just kind of get shell-shocked in the first half, and then they come out fired up in the second half. A few times the last 10 years, St. Gen's been able to play with them the whole game, but a lot of times unfortunately it's been over by halftime.
And here's the punt. Ooh, nearly blocked, and it was tipped, they said. That avoided the penalty. I'm not sure why Trollinger didn't come up and take that ball in the air. Would have saved him some heartache there as 4 people were bearing down on him by the time the ball bounced.
I think that was just a kid who was a little bit nervous about.
Yeah, they said it was tipped, and that avoided the penalty. Coming out, no backs here. 3 receivers to the right side, 2 receivers to the left.
Be interesting to see if St. Gen changes things up or if they, try to score with what they've been doing and maybe save some stuff next week for Kennett. I guess the first few possessions will probably be telling as far as that.
Yeah, St. John's got a tough district opponent next week in Kennett. So nice run there by Logan Geck. Gets a first down. That's their first down in the game, minus the that one long drive that stalled on them.
Valley's going to play coverage with a 4-touchdown lead. You're going to get light box. St. John's going to get a light box, I would think, the rest of the game. And if they get a light box, then the opportunity is going to be there to run.
The question is, how many hits do you want Logan to take tonight?
Although Valley looks to be in a 4-2 right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised they went to that,
Now
although their linebackers are spread.
out.
There's another little counter play. Quarterback keep. Big hit there.
And St. John cannot afford to get Geck injured. That's the tough part. You're down four touchdowns. You want to compete. And Valley's basically saying, you're going to beat us by running your senior quarterback. And it's tempting as an offensive coordinator, but sometimes you got to think with your mind and not your heart.
That was a heck of a hit there by Kyle Roth, defensive end, coming off the edge there to make that play 5 yards downfield.
Yes, Valley has 3 outstanding players in there with Roth and Wolk and Grass.
There's a counter to Bullock. Bullock drives the legs, and he gets about 12 yards on that carry. And he takes it down to about the 43-yard line as Coach Bobby Weiler bringing us some luck up here in the booth. He might put a headset on yet. We might get to 2-possession game. He gets excited when he sees that old school counter tray play. That was the bread and butter back in the day for Coach Weiler. Ooh, big hit there. Just a single yard up the middle, and he's brought down by about 3 Warriors.
And that's St. John's going to try to give Bullock, he's a little thicker kid, more of an inside linebacker kid. They're going to try to give him more carries. And
Logan all kinds of time here, and he gets the pass away, but right only at the line of scrimmage. Bryce Trollinger makes the catch, doesn't get any yards. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 7. Definitely a 4-down situation here, down by 4 scores inside Valley territory.
Valley sticking with their 4-down linemen.
And Geck takes a snap, quick throw, and short of the 1st down is Logan Trollinger, but it's going to make it 4th and very short. Long 2, maybe 3 yards. And this is a must-have right here for St. John as they empty out the backfield. We'll see if they bring some motion back into it or if they do some shifting here.
Yeah, Logan Trollinger, like as you stated earlier, good hips, quick feet. He's a good route runner. Valley widening their linebackers.
There's the motion. Bullock come back in, little quarterback counter, and Geck's going to be stopped short of the 1st down. Maybe gets a yard, but Valley's going to take back over on downs as Logan limps off. I think he might be cramping up right now. Hopefully it's just a cramp. And we're going to take a quick commercial break.
In 1963, Fleeg's Equipment was founded as a family-owned and operated business in St. Genevieve, where it remains to this day, selling exceptional equipment such as Case IH, Hustler Turf, Vermeer, Cub Cadet, Massey, and many more, helping with all your family and lawn needs. Service from the time you enter the door or pick up the phone is taken to heart.
At Fleeg's Farm Equipment, we ask that you let our family
serve your family.
Go Dragons!
All right, Valley Catholic takes back over at their own 35-yard line, 1st and 10 after the drive stalls for St. Genevieve. Dunlap comes out, no back set. Dragons keep 6 players in the box. Dunlap fakes the little jet sweep, runs the counter back to the opposite side, and he's tackled after a gain of 4. There is a flag down. Looks like another procedure penalty on Valley.
Again, just scary. Scary for these coaches when you got a game that's just out of hand and running your quarterbacks. You know, you want it. Valley's looking to get the running clock and secure the victory, but you know, you'd rather be able to give it to Stoll or Grass and try to pound it that way than risk your senior quarterback, who's very talented.
Dunlap back in the gun, fakes it to Stoll, looks to throw, got a screen coming our way. Well set up play there. We got a flag down. That might be an illegal man downfield as they had blockers out in front. And they're still running. That is Jaden Geck, but I think that's going to come back because of an illegal man downfield. Yeah, he ended up catching that ball about 5 yards downfield.
That's Aiden Heverly. He's a sophomore. He's a very talented kid. He caught a screen similar to that last week and crossed field with it and took it about 50. Just an outstanding individual effort, but fortunately for St. John, lineman gets called downfield.
Apologize to Aiden. I said that was Jaden Gegg, and it was not. So first down still, first down and 20 from the 26-yard line. And Dunlap takes a snap. He hands to Stoll. Stoll up the middle, and he's got a gap. And he hits Finley, bounces off Finley, but support coming from behind. Got that penalty yardage back, plus maybe a yard. So that's going to bring up a second down and 10.
Both teams still playing hard. Stoll's been very impressive. He's a hard-running kid, fast kid. He'll have a good senior season if he continues playing this way.
Dunlap out of the gun again. He hands to Stoll one more time. Stoll off the left side, and he's brought down. Got a gain of about 6 on the play. That's going to bring up 3rd and 4. Bullock with the tackle.
Again, there's the outside zone to the boundary, and this DN's just so important down here. When he loses contain, just not enough bodies down here for St. John to stop that play.
3 receivers to the right here on 3rd down. Dunlap looks to the sideline to get the new play. St. John with the 6-man box.
Valley might be able to run stop to the slot receiver if they chose to, or they may call timeout.
So that's going to bring us to a timeout, and that'll give us a chance to run another ad.
Warriors.
Potential is a proud supporter of all of our athletes and athletic programs. We hope that you don't have to come see us throughout your season, but understand that when you do, it is our job to get you back on the field or court as soon as possible. We wish all of our community's athletes safety and success and look forward to continuing the positive partnerships we've developed with our schools.
Sorry about that. I had to cut that one short, and wide open down the field. And that ball was underthrown by Dunlap. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Valley has literally built their game plan off of the outside zone. They've run it, and then it seems like 90% of their pass plays are off of the outside zone and just keeping St. John's eyes on the running back off the good fake of the outside zone. a receiver wide open in the middle of the field as St. John's D-back started cheating, and Dunlap kind of failed to set his feet, and had he set his feet, that would have probably been a 59-yarder.
All right, so Valley in a punt formation here, and the kick is up, and it's a high kick. Let it bounce again. It took a sideways bounce anyway, so not too much yardage lost.
That's a tough job for a high school kid being a punt returner, and you just have to go all in on that. Tyson Roth, one of the St. John assistant coaches, was probably the best punt returner we've had since I've been here, because he didn't have any self-doubt. He went up, he caught the ball, and he was aggressive doing it. And if you're passive at all, it's not the job for you.
Another thing that makes it tough for these high school kids, a lot of those kids that do that are two-way players, and they're back there and they're winded and they're running around each time, either running routes on offense or chasing route runners on defense, and then they get back there and they're kind of tired and winded, so a little rough on them.
Exactly. Good play to take a break.
And there's a little jet sweep to the left side, and Trollinger going every way but forward. Probably need to just put his foot in the ground and get upfield and get as much as he could on that. And instead, he decided to try to make more than he could and went backwards several yards.
Tough play against the Valley defense. There's just speed everywhere. And again, they're even though they're in their four-man D-line, their D-ends play super wide. They always have. Anytime you try to get outside on a sprint out or anything, their D-ends have just always done such a good job of containing either the ball carrier or the quarterback.
And Logan Gack looks to throw. He's got time back there, but not for long. And again, 4 rushers for Valley. Everybody else back in coverage. No open receivers, and Logan forced to take a sack. And again, it's about third and eternity here. Third and about 28, it looks like.
This is not a good place for a play caller. Tough to run pass here when you keep going backward, and you can't really run screen for risk of a touchdown. It's kind of a inside zone, and see if you can get 4 or 5 yards, Zach.
There it is. It looked like they tried that screen, and it's images of a
same color uniform and everything.
Remember one year Park Hills ran a screen against us inside their own 10 in a situation like that. We picked it off with like 20 seconds to go in the half. Remember that game? Ronnie Calvert, I think, was quarterback. There was a lot of heckling going on to the central coaches as they walked off their home field. There's a punt, and it is downed at the 44-yard line. And Valley takes back over, leading 28-0. No scoring here yet in the third quarter. There's 3 minutes left. And the crowd has quieted.
Yes, we are on the St. John side. Imagine there's a little more jubilation on the Valley side.
So Valley takes over in St. John territory on the 43-yard line. Dunlap with 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Takes it, hands to Stoll. Stoll up the middle, hit immediately, drags him for a couple yards, and finished off there by Finley. Coy Fleegan on the tackle. Kobe Hatfield also there. Bring up a second down and 11. Actually didn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
St. John's still playing hard. That's what you gotta ask of these kids. It's a long season. You and I have been in this situation before. You just want to keep them playing hard, get through this game, move on. Let the kids know that the season's not over. There's a lot of good things to come.
And Stoll to the outside. The flag down. Stoll breaks it, and he's going to go to the 14-yard line. I think it's going to come back on a hold there.
Yeah, one of their linemen had a lot of jersey on. Luke Terry, I believe, might be a different St. John D lineman, but they had a pretty good handful of green jersey, and ref threw the flag, rightfully so.
Yeah, this is a game, this rivalry game. It got moved up in the season years ago, probably 10 or 11 years ago. It used to be a little deeper into the season, but I think the coaches are kind of relieved that it's earlier in the season now, and they can kind of get it behind them and they can move on from it either way, win or lose. There's always so much emotion and so much hype that goes into this game, and as a coach, it sometimes becomes challenging as the season goes on to kind of contain those emotions. And now that it's in week 2, we can kind of play it and get it in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, it used to be later in the season, I think simply because it was a conference game. You know, not only was it a huge rivalry game, but it was a big it was always a big conference game because in the 90s, both teams were consistently contending for a conference title with North County and Farmington. So it was just a huge emotional game, but then you couldn't afford to lose the game because then you might be knocked out of the conference championship race. And then, like you said, it's been as early as week 1, I know, and then like about the last 18 years, it's been week 2, which is, I agree with you, it's a good time to have it, get it over with, let the kids move on.
Yeah, the kids just spin themselves in a game like this. They don't hold back. They push themselves to the edge, which is what you want and what you expect of them as a coach. But you know, when you got that much emotion wrapped into things, and you come out on the losing end, a lot of times you're kind of spent, and it might take a week or 2 to recover mentally from that.
And people might say I'm crazy, but a game like this, it's good for Valley. Yes, they're winning 21-0. A game like this is often good for a St. John team because it kind of knocks them back down a peg and lets them realize we got a long way to go, but we can get there. And if you've got a mature team like St. John does, a lot of times you can build off this game. Ooh.
There's a deep ball, and he is wide open, and he is going to score. Ooh, Kiefer almost brought him down, but he was unable to do so. Double move on the outside. And that's going to make the score 34-0, pending the extra point.
Yeah, St. John's been rolling some new D-backs in. That time they had Brett Beezer at the right corner and Kyle Kiefer at the left corner. Kyle Kiefer's an outstanding kid, hard worker, and he'll play some valuable downs for St. Genevieve this year. You know, unfortunate that he gave up a long play there, but he'll build off that. He'll learn from that. He'll be fine.
And that's the situation, too. And with the game, the situation the way it is, as a team, you kind of sell out for run. You almost expect run. And they run a double move like that, and you get caught peeking in the backfield. And that's going to be a 35-0 lead now for Valley with 1 minute 49 seconds left to go in the third quarter. That does take us to the running clock rule. So the clock will run outside of changes of possession and scoring.
Be interesting to see what both teams do here. St. John has a good number of kids on the roster. Valley has about 40 kids dressed, I believe, 9 through 12. So I'm sure both teams will look to start subbing and keeping some bodies healthy for the rest of the season. St. John, big district game with Kennett at home next week, and then Valley, a big, not a district opponent, but Caruthersville comes to town next week, and they knocked off Valley for their second loss last year. So Valley will be looking to avenge that, and on top of that, Caruthersville is just a very good team.
Yeah, we played Caruthersville for 2 years. The 2 years prior, 4 years prior to Valley picking them up, and they were always a physical team and always had tons of athletes.
Great opponent to play. Small school, loves their football, fun atmosphere going down there, and like you said, physical, fast, tough kids, but always respectful and just fun to play. Our kids really like playing them. None of us like the 2.5, 3 hour bus ride to get there.
They do have a nice casino down there, though. Casino Aztar.
And Hayti has Chubby's, which is outstanding barbecue.
And there's the handoff to Boyer. Boyer gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Here's ball attack for the Dragons, number 6, that's Boyer. Battling by number 50.
Yeah, Valley. They went with that light box the whole first half, and now they've gone back to the 6-man box, and you know it's just a tough call for St. John. Do you throw the ball when you've got a little bit of opportunity, risk getting beat up a little more, or do you try to run the ball in the heavy box and see what kind of success you can have then?
There's a sprint right there. Got about a 6-yard pass to Bryce Trollinger. As the one and only Coach Jeff Nix walks into the booth. And Logan Geck rolls to the left, now comes back to the right. Trollinger comes back, makes the play. That's going to be good for a first down.
Good play by Logan Geck. Again, we've talked about it. He's athletic. He's a competitor. Not going to quit. And if you can move the ball and get some experience against the defense this quick, this athletic, it's only going to help you in the future.
And that's going to take us to the end of the
Potential
third
is
quarter.
a proud supporter of all of our athletes and athletic programs. We hope that you don't have to come see us throughout your season, but understand that when you do, it is our job to get you back on the field or court as soon as possible. We wish all of our community's athletes safety and success and look forward to continuing the positive partnerships we've developed with our schools. Good luck and good health to all of our athletes tonight and going forward.
And we are back, and we want to thank Potential again for sponsoring us this year. A very loyal sponsor for us over the last few years. And with us now, as St. John takes over at the 33-yard line, Logan Geck getting ready to take the snap. He looks inside to Bullock. That's going to be 2 yards, bring up second down and 8. And we got Jeff Nix here with us, the athletic director of St. John, in about, 10th year?
This is number 11.
Number 11 years as AD.
It's hard to believe.
Former football coach back in the day.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Probably don't miss the nights like tonight as a football coach.
No, the ones where we didn't win.
Oh, there's a big play right there as Logan passes to Peyton Matthews. Big catch for that young man as he struggled a little bit tonight, but that's about a 38-yard gain. And it's going to be 1st and 10 inside the 35. And Bullock bounces off a tackle. He gets another 3 yards, and he's down to the 30-yard line as it's 2nd down and 7. Anyway, Jeff, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, when you and I coached, this field was grass, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was many moons ago.
It was, but it was a good time. I really enjoyed coaching.
There's Geck on the rollout, hitting Matthews crossing the field, and now Matthews is down. He looked very awkward when he went down over there on that sideline, holding his left knee. Hope that young man's okay. Comes up limping a little bit.
Yeah, we've talked about him the first couple games. He's had his drops, but he's going to be an outstanding receiver for St. John this year.
He's definitely athletic. I think he's just trying to find his groove as far as catching the ball. He's just, we know he's better than what he has been so far, and heck, he's made a couple of pretty nice catches the past 2 plays.
Looks like they called Valley for an illegal substitution. I think they're going to decline the penalty. It'll be 2nd down and 3. And Logan will take the snap. Austin to his left, 3 receivers to his left. He sprints that way and goes to throw, and that ball's batted down at the line of scrimmage.
I touched on that earlier. Valley's DNs, they play that outside technique, and it's just so hard to get outside. Bullock did a good job of attacking, trying to help the tackle hook, but they keep the pocket, they keep the quarterback in the pocket, and when they do so, the backside pressure just has a chance to get there, and that time you saw the pass knocked down.
There's the inside handoff to Bullock. Bullock bounces and spins his way forward. I think he's got enough for a first down. If not, he's really close. Looks like they're going to mark him. Yep, they're going to give it to him. It's going to be 1st and 10 inside the 25-yard line. Well, Jeff, you come up here. They haven't run hurry up all day. They start running hurry up. We can't even get you in.
I should have came up here a long time ago.
All right, Logan out of the gun. 3 receivers to the left. Bullock to his right. Logan Trollinger flanks him to the right. Bullock runs motion. Logan Geck steps up to run. He gets outside, and he's inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. They're going to mark him down. We will get to the other sports eventually. We'll watch this touchdown here real quick.
No problem at all. The less talking I have to do, the less messing up I do.
Bullock swings out to the right. Geck swings it to him, and looks like he's going to be dropped for about a yard loss on the play, and it's going to bring up 2nd and goal for the 9-yard line. Again, back up to the line quickly for the Dragons. Bullock to the left of Geck this time. 3 receivers to the left. Snap. He sprints left. He looks. And all the way to the sideline. They stretch it out, and he's brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Probably a loss of 2 on the play. And that's going to bring a 3rd and goal from the 11.
Again, sprint out. DN, he did break contain that time, but it just takes so long to get out that the receivers, if they do come open, the D-backs have time to get back into their coverage.
Good nice throw. Ball. There it is. Touchdown to Peyton. Peyton Matthews with the touchdown reception. 12 yards. St. John's on the board. It's going to be 35-6. We'll see if they go for 1 or 2. Last week, the extra point was a little bit of an experiment maybe. I don't know what was going on.
That's so big when you get a kid like that. Matthews hadn't had the best 2 opening games, but you get a kid that I believe scores his first varsity touchdown. It does against Valley. Yeah, it's 35-6, but gives them a memory that hopefully they can hold on to forever.
Oh, good.
And that PAT is missed. And St. John will kick off the Valley, now trailing 35-6 here in the 4th quarter, and that takes our running clock off the board, so maybe extended for a possession or 2. All right, Jeff, I think we got some chance now. Let's talk about some of the programs we got. Let's talk about some of the programs we got going on that are in full swing right now. First, let's start with volleyball. They had a couple games this week.
Yeah, they had a little misfortune on Monday at practice when, with 10 minutes left to practice, one of our good players, Julian McClin, gets hurt. And I say one of our good players. We got a lot of good players, but she's a big one. And she gets hurt, and all of a sudden they have to make a lot of changes in the last 10 minutes of practice right before they go and play Festus, who's a very good volleyball team. So I'm not making excuses for them because they lost. A loss is a loss, but they certainly weren't ready for Festus in that first game. And then last night they come out and a little fumble on the play there, and went back into the hands of the Warriors, so they get the ball on their own 48-yard line. But anyway, so last night the varsity had their second game of the week against R7 and had a very convincing win. So they evened their record. They're 1-1, and they've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of girls back from last year, and they've got 3 district championships in a row that they're trying to defend and make a 4th. So it'd be interesting to see what they can do.
And we got cross country kicking their season off tomorrow. I think they're at Arcadia Valley. Is that correct?
Arcadia Valley, both our high school and middle school are at AV tomorrow. So, again, it'll be interesting to see what they can do. The boys' team might be able to make a little bit of noise this year, and it's the girls' team is young, and it'll be interesting to see how they develop throughout the course of the season too. But great kids in that program. They coaches have a lot of good things to say about how hard they work and just how good they mix with each other and the team chemistry that they have. So just a neat group of kids, and I hope that they have a great season.
Dunlap up the middle there for 5 yards, as both teams still have their starters in the game. And lastly, we got girls golf going on right now as well. Tell us a little bit about their season. I know they kicked off, had a tournament and a match, I believe, this past week.
There are 14 girls on our girls golf team, which is crazy. I mean, it's you're looking at most schools, including us, who usually have 4, 5, 6, 7 girls, and this year we've got 14. So it was interesting. We were able to actually go this past week and send 3 teams to one tournament. So we actually 13 of our 14 girls, one of them doesn't have enough practices yet, but 13 out of the 14 girls got to play in that tournament. So a lot of youth in that group, but there's a few players who have been playing now for 2 or 3 years, and a couple that even are interested in playing in college. So it'll be interesting to see what they do as well.
Yeah, that girls program was new not too many years ago. It was about 5 years ago, I believe.
About 5 years ago, and we started with about 4 girls, and over the past several years we've had 4, 5, 6, and then all of a sudden we have 14 this year. It's didn't see that coming at all, to be honest with you.
All right, Valley got a first down there with the run by Dunlap. He keeps it again on a little counter play. He gets about 6 yards up the middle. And that'll bring up a second down and 4. Well, Coach Nix, what can we do to get back in this ball game here?
We're not going to get back into this ball game, but it's important that these guys put this game behind them, and that's going to be hard to do for anybody. But they have to do it. They've got Kennett next week, and then they start conference games after that. And Valley's a good team, and I think that's no big secret. All of a sudden, they had a little bit of a down year last year, but they're back and they're going to be good. And I don't see them losing many games, if any. So put this one behind you and get ready for the next game. That's all you can do.
By down year, you mean 9-3?
Exactly.
I'm going to build off what you said. St. John has made a decision. St. John decided to schedule Dexter, Valley, and Kennett week 1, 2, and 3, and there's a lot of schools around here who aren't willing to do that. And if you're willing to do that and you can stay healthy and you got good character kids, then you're going to be ready for conference play and you're probably going to be ready for district play. And St. John could go schedule 3 Patsies and be 3-0 every year, but you, Coach Wyke, you've made the choice not to do that, and that's a lot of people don't realize that, but that's pretty respectable on you guys' part.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think if you look at most of our sports, volleyball right now, we have a really tough schedule. If you look at our baseball team, our softball team, last year we played the state champion in softball 6 times. And it's you got to challenge your kids, and if you want them to get better, they have to play good teams. And if all you're interested in is having an undefeated regular season and then not advancing in the playoffs, then go for that. But we'd rather play good competition and challenge our kids and teach them how to win and lose both. And why play if you're gonna load your schedule with a bunch of teams that you should beat all the time?
That's exactly right. I agree completely.
Second down and 8 here for Valley. We got about 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And there's the handoff to Stoll up the middle, and he's tackled inside the 5-yard line at about the 3.
Valley's brought in a backup quarterback, it appears. That is number 12, Chase Fallert. He's a 5'9" freshman. Interesting to see if he's the guy they go to next year or if they've got somebody else they're looking to as their starter for the future.
He's a good athlete, I know that. I've seen him play baseball, and
He
some
is.
other athletics.
I've been watching him play sports since he was little bitty, and he is. He's a really good athlete. I would imagine he's probably going to be their quarterback next year, just my guess.
He hands off to Stoll. Stoll inside, stays off the ground, and reaches in the end zone. Looked like they had his butt down, but he was able to just lift up, keep it off the ground, and stretch his arms out over the goal line, and that's going to bring the score to 41-6, pending the extra point. Well, Coach Nix, I know you got some post-game obligations down there, so we'll let you get back to that, but we appreciate you coming up here and filling us in on all the goings-on in the St. John Athletic Department.
Well, I appreciate what you guys do. You would be surprised how many people contact me, just myself, and ask, well, I can't be at the game. What can I do to watch the game? So the service that you guys provide is outstanding, and you guys do a good job.
Oh, and there's a botch snap, and still on the ground. It's recovered by Kemper, who was on his knees, so point after attempt is no good, and we'll take one last commercial break.
Dragon 6.
In 1963, Fleeg's Equipment was founded as a family-owned and operated business in St. Genevieve, where it remains to this day, selling exceptional equipment such as Case IH, Hustler Turf, Vermeer, Cub Cadet, Massey, and many more, helping with all your family and lawn needs. Service from the time you enter the door or pick up the phone is taken to heart.
At Fleeg's Farm Equipment, we ask that you let our family
serve your family.
Go Dragons!
And there's a kickoff by Nagger, and that's fielded back deep by Boyer. Boyer cuts up inside, and he gets about to the 26-yard line, and St. John will take over there. Looks like Siebert's going to come into the game as the quarterback.
Yeah, St. John may roll out, may keep their starting O-line, and it looks like they will. And this is the kind of game you want to get your backup quarterback some time with the number ones. Just, you know, you got to have a backup that's ready to go at all times.
Yeah, they do have a couple clean jerseys in there.
I think they're all clean right now on this turf.
Maybe not full of perspiration is what I was implying, Adam.
Number 23, it looks like in the backfield. I think that's Kobe Squires.
Clayton
Squires. He's a sophomore running back. He's got some juice. He'll be a good player for St. John in the years to come. St. John unbalanced.
Yeah,
four right
receivers.
Here. Ooh.
And then a bubble, and nobody fooled on that play as number 24 for Valley is getting deep into the depth chart here. That's Austin Burnett with the tackle, about 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So Siebert does get a completion there, but negative net yards on the play. Same formation here, this time forward to the short side of the field. Wide side of the field wide open over here, and botch snap. Siebert's forced to keep it, and he's dropped for a loss of another 6 yards. So now it's going to be 3rd down and 22.
Ball at time number 4, Logan Gang.
So it's going to bring up, it's actually 3rd and 20. That was a loss of 4 on that play.
And this is when it just kind of gets jumbled. You got the number ones in, but the adrenaline's gone. The outcome's already decided. It's tough to keep it clean this late in the game with this kind of score.
Squires gets the call up the middle, gain of 1, and that's going to force them in, I think, to a punting situation. There is only 30 seconds left in the game. There's 36 seconds on the play clock, so that should be the last play of the game, actually. They will not need to line up to punt as the team goes to the 50-yard line to shake hands. And while it wasn't an ideal game for St. John, as we've talked about, we can now put it behind us and move on. Tough game next week with Kennett. Coach Sherry, I know you're familiar with Kennett from last season. Good football team, lots of athletes, good quarterback.
Kennett has an outstanding coach. Coach Wyatt came over from Malden. Last year may have been his I believe last year was his second year. This is his third year at the helm. He took Malden to the state championship game. They didn't win it, but he took them to the semis once or twice, and then the championship game once, where they, faced Lamar, and there wasn't anybody beating Lamar in those years. And he just does some outstanding things offensively. They were creative last year, came out with a lot of formations, under center, shotgun, a lot of motion, athletes all over the field. Two good D tackles last year. I think both those kids are graduated. We saw tonight how important interior defensive line play is. So if they were unable to replace those kids with monsters like that, then St. John should have a good opportunity to. I guess you have to call it an upset now, but you just hope St. John's healthy. You hope they can put this behind them. You look forward to this game for 364 days. You put a lot into it. A lot of the time you spend in the weight room, you got this date circled, and then something like this happens. But, this is lots of teams have lost football games before, and fortunately it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and the big injury concern, I think, coming out of this game, at least at first glance, is Clayton Kreitler, two-way player, defensive line, offensive line. As you said, our offensive line is probably our thinnest area on the entire field as far as positions are concerned. So we'll see what the extent of his injury is, and we hope that young man's okay and ready to come back next week. And if not, hopefully he can get back on the field before the season's over. It does look like a knee injury. He was limping. But he was also walking and putting weight on it. So it's tough to tell with knees. Just some quick scores to pass along as we're going to sing the alma mater here in a second. But we have the Pittsburgh Pirates up 7-4 on the Cardinals. That score has changed since the last time I looked. Festus is up 21-16 over Sullivan. Festus, good team this year. St. Charles West up on Hillsborough 34-22. Potosi getting beat by St. Clair 23-0. St. Clair beat beat Central last week. Seckman 19-14 over Windsor. Country Day over Central 28-21. Fredericktown 34-0 over Herculaneum in the Battle of the Black Cats. Portageville 34-7 over Grandview. Perryville 45-0 over St. James. Pirates big win there.
2-0.
Scott, it always seems like they are, isn't it? They do exactly the opposite as what we were just talking about with Coach Nix. They usually schedule the teams that they know they can beat at the beginning because they usually know they're in for a long haul in the end. Scott City 28-14 over St. Vincent. Farmington 28-6 over North County. That's still a halftime score, so that has not been updated yet. I'm not sure what that is. That's a big rivalry game, of course. St. Pius 49-12 over Bayless, and Kelly 62-0 over Crystal City. So that's the wrap of your out-of-town scoreboard. And final thoughts, Coach Sherry, about tonight's game.
Not the outcome St. John fans were hoping for. Again, like you said, two big things that I would look at is our Clayton Kreitler's potential injury. No idea what that is. And, hoping Logan Gegg is just dinged and not injured. He looked to be kind of favoring his thigh and hip area, so I'd say that was hopefully something soft tissue. Probably just caught a helmet to the thigh or a shoulder pad to the thigh or something along those lines. But, the coaches they got to keep him up. You got to keep practicing hard. And you got to make them realize that this game, in the long run, it doesn't mean much. For the next 48 hours, they're going to be really upset. But Sunday, Monday, you got to move on. You got to move on to your week 3 opponent, who's very good. And if you're not focused on them, then 41-6 can happen again. So St. John's got a lot of wins left in them this year. They just got to keep focused. Got to keep improving, and they'll have a successful football season.
And for the next 30, 45 minutes, one of the coolest things, and you know it and you see it and you appreciate it more. And Coach Sherry, I'm talking to you right now because this is the first time you've seen a football game, not on the sidelines or up in the booth in a long time probably, but you can really appreciate when you see these kids from both schools getting together, shaking hands, giving hugs, congratulating each other, and wishing each other luck the rest of the season. It's such a cool thing. And like I told you earlier, when you're coaching or playing, you're constantly focused on the next thing, and sometimes you're so busy nitpicking all the little things that the kids are doing wrong that you don't get a chance to appreciate the finer things that are going on out there. But such a cool thing when these two teams play, all the gestures and stuff after the game, and seeing those kids, put everything behind them, and they were competitors and enemies for 3 hours on the field, and as soon as the game's over, they go back to being friends and family members and neighbors. So we're going to enjoy that for the next 30 and 45 minutes, and we appreciate you guys all coming along for the ride tonight. For Adam Sherry, this is Kyle Schweiss, and you've been watching Dragon Football on SG Dragon TV.